All right, so we'll get into a request topic. Hopefully this is Jason's standards. You know, don't want to make him mad.
It's like up dog to you.
Yeah. Okay, so this comes from Devin Moore. He says, E3 is coming up. What do you want to see announced? Nintendo NX. I'm done. Go ahead.
No one wants to fucking see that
Last
shit.
Guardian.
Yeah, seriously. Kingdom Hearts 3, maybe. I'd like to get a release date on that. The reason I bought my PS4, both of those
I
games.
think that's the case.
Originally, yes, it was.
Really?
I bought it because I wanted Kingdom Hearts 3 and Last Guardian. Because that game's been teased for 10 fucking years, and I loved Ico and Shadow of the Colossus, so I've been waiting for a new game in that universe. And they're just like, I need better feather physics.
I doubt it would ever happen, but if Bungie had another IP, I'd be really interested in seeing that.
Yeah.
If they would not even had any just a skeleton of it, it would be really fucking cool if
Do you have
Bungie
any-
came up with a new IP.
Is there any kind of teaser looking posters in Destiny like they did in ODST where it's like Destiny Awaits? It was on a poster.
No.
No. Shit. I was gonna hope. What do they call it? Hope.
I don't think Atlas will be doing anything too much, but I would like to see an English release thing for Eternity 5. That'd be really fucking cool for me.
Okay. I could see that.
What else?
I would, I doubt it, unless it shows up and it's like a big surprise. And I don't think Bethesda would even have time to work on it, but I'd like to see some kind of announcement of the new Elder Scrolls. I feel like it's been long enough since Skyrim, and online just completely was a failure, so...
Yeah, but they take a bit for those.
They do, because, they like to put their work into it, but I just feel like, I don't know, I'm ready. I'm ready for adventure, 'cause...
I already spent enough fucking time in Skyrim and goddamn Oblivion. I don't need to be putting
No,
more
I'm
time.
ready for more. I love that adventure.
I would like to see more horror-themed games that aren't necessarily zombie-related.
There's actually quite a few that you may not know about because you don't PC game all that much.
No.
I can't remember the fucking...
Yeah, you're not part of the master race.
The one game is called, it's a first person, it's kind of like the fuck's that game called? Amnesia: The Dark Descent. Except it's a little bit more psychological because a lot more things are happening. It's more updated as well. It's not like the sequel, which was more poorly received. Fuck, I can't remember what the fuck it was called. I was just watching a guy play it. He was in this room where there was a checkers, and he'd find the pieces, and the room kept constantly changing, and all kinds of crazy shit was happening. That was pretty entertaining.
You're not talking about that one where it's you're putting pieces of a painting together as you go through your mansion, are you?
That might be. I remember Layers of Fear.
Yes, that's what I'm thinking.
Layers of Fear.
Layers of Fear.
And I was just discussing with Matt in the car, I'm not sure if you know about it either, but Dead by Daylight is a 5-person game where it's similar to Evolved in that it's 4 versus 1, except it's one player plays as a killer in a procedurally generated world, and you have to hunt down the other four regular people who are trying to escape. And it's I watched some people play the beta. It is very, very intense. You really feel like you're in a Friday the 13th movie while this guy's just walking around with this twisted machete, just whacking at people and dragging them around and hanging them on hooks. And one of the things that's really intriguing about that game is not only are the maps procedurally generated, so they're different every time. There's different every time. I'm not sure about every time, but there's different killers. So you never know exactly what you're getting into until it's too late. So like the devs were saying, maybe one game you decide to get away from the killer by going inside this building and hiding there, and the guy doesn't really check it over. The next game you might try to do the same thing, but now he can walk through walls.
That's cool. I
Yeah.
like that.
Interesting.
I would like to see stuff like that come to consoles, though.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
that is a one-sided market right now. I
But
understand.
the thing about that is, a lot of games that start on PC, once
They
they
end
get
up-
popular,
yeah.
end up being on
because the consoles have started getting more into the indie stuff. Because Layers
Yeah.
of Fear is on Xbox Marketplace, and so is on
it's on
PSN.
PlayStation, as well as Terraria started on PC. It's now on but all consoles. Same with Minecraft.
Yeah.
Shovel Knight.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Shovel Knight's on everything. Layers of Fear was fucking great. I watched like Markiplier play that, and like you get into a part, like you go into a kitchen, and there's a picture, like food, and then like shit happens, and the food just starts falling out of the picture. It's just like apples and oranges and all this shit just start pouring out of the food.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
One of the cooler things I saw in that game was you get into this bathroom and you like looking around, then you have to like dunk your head into this bathtub.
Yes.
And you're just like, once you're in the bathtub, you start swimming through this like underground, like river or something with all kinds of like twisted metal and things all around you, and it's really unsettling. Eventually, you have to get out of the water because you can't hold your breath any longer. You have to keep going back down until you get to the end. It's pretty cool.
Well, another idea that I had, which I don't, it's probably not going to happen, but like 2 years ago, I guess now, Transformers Devastation came out.
Yeah.
And it was like a cell-shaded, made to look like the old school 80s Gen 1 cartoon.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, why didn't they do something like that for like G.I. Joe, or for like Thundercats, or for Masters of the Universe?
Voltron.
Yeah.
A
To do,
Voltron
that
game
art
like that
style-
would be really fucking cool.
To do that art style like
Well,
that would be
Talk
really
to
cool.
Platinum Games.
Yeah.
I'm sure they will make all kinds of crazy shit.
Yeah. And of course, I'm still waiting for more info on Cuphead. I saw that they've added more bosses, and now they're saying it's more boss rush and less platforming. And
that kind of sucks.
Yeah, which kind of sucks. And then they're like, no, there's still platforming, but it's heavily focused on like bosses where it's more like a puzzle type, like to figure it out, like patterns and stuff.
And not
Not
necessarily
as much as action.
Yeah. That's not too bad, but I still like when you take away from a platforming game the platforming, it stops being a game and starts being just I gotta kill this boss.
Right.
Yay.
I want to see what's going on with Resident Evil 7 after that whole rumor about a certain somebody possibly working on it. I want that confirmed.
Trapper.
Trevor. He does have that command center. His secret lair. That's where he's got the Resident Evil 7 specs in there. So you need a thunder axe. And you need a fucking sheep swatch.
You didn't notice it when they were there the last time.
Didn't.
But he's got the whole thing on his computer.
He's got it all right now. It's finished.
It's ready to go.
It's ready to go. He's just faking a leg.
See, I doubt this will come to any kind of light right now because I don't know what Nintendo's doing, but they did bring back Star Fox. I'd like to see a legit new Metroid game.
Yeah.
Like, not... I wouldn't mind a Prime-esque one, because I really liked Prime, but, like, go back... Even if you put it just on the 3DS or whatever, I would like a Metroidvania platforming Metroid game in which you play as Samus and you're not fucking fighting bounty hunters. You're exploring a planet again. That would be really fucking cool.
I mean, I'd truly like to see a true Mario 64 successor. Because, like, Galaxy kind of really wasn't. Because I'd like to actually, like, you go into areas that are full 3D worlds and not just, like, sections of, like, little bits of, like, floating in a black space.
Some people say that Sunshine was the spiritual successor to Mario 64. I disagree.
I don't really do agree to that either. Yeah.
It was similar enough in that you went to different areas that were outside the main hub, which was Delfino Plaza. Just like the castle was the main hub for Mario 64. But the mechanics were you weren't doing anywhere near the same things. Whereas, I get what you would like to see, a new Mario in the 64 style, but I prefer, honestly, like, Super Mario Brothers, like they did for the Wii U and all that. I really like the side-scrolling platforming games.
Well, it's fine. They're good, too. I don't know. I'd like to see them do another 3D one as well as they did 64.
Oh, from what I've heard, people really enjoyed both Galaxy games. I didn't give them a chance enough, honestly, which is disappointing for myself because I really wanted to play them. I just didn't.
I loved the first one. The second one was more difficult than I thought it was going to be.
Well, yeah, the Yoshi implements, like, that gave a whole different ball of wax to the deal.
Those extra wrinkles are always a good time, though.
Yeah.
Because once you solve them, it's just like, fuck yeah, that's awesome.
I can't think of anything else right now off the top of my head.
Not at the top of my head, but there's a...
I know there's a couple first-person shooters I was looking forward to, but I can't remember the names off the top of my head, really.
I doubt it would ever come back. But an actual sequel to Perfect Dark would be the tits. I would love that.
I actually heard that somebody's working on that.
I fucking doubt that. Rare's dead, Nintendo doesn't care.
Well, no, Rare's not. I think some other company, like, picking it up.
Like, well, Rare was working super close with Microsoft Studios, so...
Yeah, and then they generated that shitty Perfect Dark sequel in which it was completely broken, and they made...
343's picking it up.
And they made the shitty-ass, Banjo-Kazooie nuts and bolts.
Builder Insane.
And they've been teasing a new Conker for a while, too.
It's not gonna fucking...
Yeah, and I heard that they're going back to a more family-friendly style for it.
Yeah, because that's what everybody wanted.
They want more Conker's Pocket Tales.
Cocker's Pocket Tales. You were thinking about something that you should not be, sir. You're in a room full of gentlemen.
I was mixing
Brazzers.
Conker and Pocket together.
I don't care what you were mixing together.
Cockers.
It stays above the table, young man. Both hands on the keyboard.
Cockknocker.
Cockknocker. Why do they call you
Mark
Cockknocker?
Hamill.
Why do they call you Cockknocker? All right. Well, that will do that request topic. Now, I have a discussion topic to go over with the two of you. If you need a couple of seconds to think about it, that's fine. I forwarded this to a new follower on our YouTube page. His channel is Krusty's Daily. He became like one of our new big fans. He comments on almost all of our videos.
Thanks.
He's a really nice guy. I've talked to him a couple times. I forwarded him this message because he had a Q&A video that he's working on for the future. My question to him and for our discussion topic was, a AAA game company picks you up and they want you to make their next survival horror game, but they want completely brand new elements and something that wasn't done before. What would you do?
Well, fuck you. This is what I've been thinking about for fucking years. Because I fucking love survival horror. And honestly, a game like what we were just discussing, Dead by Daylight, would be very similar to something that I would make. Because I really like dungeon crawlers, like roguelikes, that's what it's called, excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
I really like roguelikes. The idea that it's never going to be the same. It really adds a lot of replayability, and in a horror scenario, it really adds tension because you can't rely on something that you did before that was maybe just luck and happenstance. Like, you get into a room and there just happens to be a weapon there that allowed you to win. Kind of like with Betrayal at House on the Hill.
Mm-hmm.
You just happen to get what you needed. Whereas the next game, things go horribly fucking wrong for you. But it would not feel... I really hope anyway that it wouldn't feel too cheap.
Right.
Because that's one thing I hate about some RNG games where it's like you're playing and it just seems like the game is just having a bad day, so it decides to take it out on you by throwing all the worst shit at you.
Right.
Fuck. Like I've had some really shitty Binding of Isaac runs like that.
Do you have an idea yet? Because I have one if you want me to field it.
I'm still thinking.
My idea I had for a game was that you're basically inside the mind of a person like who suffered like a great tragedy, or like, you know, they're in a coma, some kind of thing like that messed up with their brain, and you're actually going through their subconscious travel to each cerebral part of the brain. So you're like trying to fix it to bring this person back. And it's like you're playing as them in their own mind, and like you go to like fear and you go to happiness and like you go to all those different sections, and for each one you have to actually like change the way you would survive within that situation. Because like within happiness, it's like it's happy, but at the same time it's like a happy is like an insane madness type of happiness.
That's not the whole idea, but that part right there is reminding me, I can't remember the name of the game, but there's a survival game, or actually I can't remember exactly what genre it is, but basically you're playing as a person in this town where everyone is like being basically mind controlled by these drugs that everyone takes. Mm-hmm. And everyone wears these masks that hides what they actually look like, but they all look like they're They're having a good
Yes,
time.
I remember this because and eventually everything seems okay, and then eventually they all start looking at you like something's wrong with this guy.
Yeah, because you're not doing what you're
I
supposed to
can't
do.
remember what the hell that game's called.
It's a really cool idea.
But and then that was kind of my idea for it. But then at the end, instead of there being you have major bosses, but you also defeat it with a choice of, you have your choice, and that then in turn changes how the next place you're going to go might play out. Yeah.
See, I like the idea of not always having to kill bosses or always have to fight bosses, because I feel that's a cop-out for a checkpoint in the game, so you can feel safe. Okay, this is a boss. Chances are, before it and after it, I'll have opportunities, to either restock or save or keep myself from having to be frustrated by things.
Right.
But that I don't like having safety nets all the time.
Right.
It makes it turns a game way too handholdy or baby, and I don't care for that.
It's true.
Sometimes you got to suffer for good enjoyment.
So I mean that was kind of my idea, because
that.
I was thinking you get into the fear part of your brain, you'd have a gauge that gauges how your fear level, the things that are happening, but that gets too high, you fail in that area, so you can't you can still continue the game, but you won't get 100% completion rating and stuff like that. It's kind of an idea I had. You get into the happiness, it's you have to stay at a moderate level, and you have to because
you can't indulge too much in the emotion you're currently
right, because that's
in.
the other part. You could be happy and want to stay there, and you have to make that decision within the character to not stay there. You have to continue on. And if you stay if you stay in that level for too long, that could screw up the next place you're going to go to. So
I know, for me, I'm really sick of survival horror always being about zombies or people who are mutated or whatever. I would really enjoy if it was this was all happening in your nightmares. And the only way that you will wake up is if you overcome your nightmares. And the nightmares are all based on folklore.
okay,
Folk tales and stuff like that of
Bogans and stuff.
yeah,
fucking Moby Dick.
yeah, okay.
I mean, some people are afraid of
That'd be
whales.
fucking scary as
yeah.
hell. Are you kidding me?
And,
You play a part in the game where you're just on a fucking capsized boat and you're just on a goddamn little dinghy, and there's this fucking monstrous whale coming at you.
Yeah.
Dude, I'd shit my pants in my own living
Maybe
room.
they shouldn't have been fucking hunting him and throwing spears at him. Now he's pissed off.
Well, blame Ahab. That's his fault. Power hungry bastard.
But it's but as soon as you think you're done and you're about to wake up, it goes to another.
So you get an Inception.
Yeah.
You get Batman's nightmare. Flash comes save you. That's the only way I'm gonna play it.
I will
He comes in a
agree
Cyrax suit.
that I am really annoyed with the standard choices of enemies in horror games. I understand they're staples, people are used to them, but they make it too easy to understand how that enemy works. This is zombie. I'm gonna fucking shoot in the head instead.
See, that's the one thing I loved about Silent Hill in the beginning was the monsters were really unique, and then as it went along, it was just kind of just fucking over-sexualize it all. Fuck it. I'm getting tired of being creative because we're not in Japan anymore making these games.
Yeah.
Because even when you got the Homecoming, everything was basically centered around a sexual problem. It was almost after 2 happened, they're okay, well, we got to put something like that in there, the nurses' boobs need to be bigger and they need to have shorter skirts now, and their asses got to hang out because that's
Why would they not?
I know, fan service.
I
get
want
it. I get
nightmarish hooker nurses. Okay?
Put that in your game.
Don't kink shame me.
Put that.
I
in your
get the
game.
design, but I understand what they were trying to was his image of women.
The idea.
No, I get it, but his
behind-
image of women stuck with 4 other characters.
Yeah,
That's what he's saying.
Yeah.
Because the idea behind all the enemies in the game is supposed to be your
it's supposed to be tailored to that
person based on their
But everybody had the
mental
same
process.
thing. They all had crazy looking dogs, messed up dogs. They had fucking big lumbering things with blunt arms. They all had fucking nurses. It was the same cookie cutter
It got a little
shit.
repetitive.
Yeah.
It's because 2 was so popular.
Yeah, pretty
Yeah.
much. And 2, besides Pyramid Head, to me, had some of the most simplistic enemies in it, like, because most of them were just fucking mannequin parts,
Yeah.
you know? And that worked.
It worked really well.
And then they tried to do something like that similar in Shattered Memories, and it was, people were like, this is fucking, they look like golems running at me. It ain't scary.
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
Again, I just don't care for the idea of using tired old enemies. I do like the idea of not necessarily having a monster as, or any kind of creature as the antagonist, or just enemies in the game, and just having good old people doing what people do best, being fucking horrible.
That's true, because even like watching like Let's Plays on YouTube channels, it's like always a horror game, and you're like, okay, well, what's the monster look like?
Yeah.
Because that's what it always is. It's just, hey, monster, you're in a labyrinth-like area, and you're eventually going to run into it at some point.
Yeah.
the only time that really wasn't the case might have been the Condemned series.
Yeah, because Condemned did what you were saying. It was
Yeah.
people. It was just people that were really fucked up off of drugs and everything, and a cult. Because
Yeah.
I remember when we got to the end of that game, I was like, what the fuck is going on in this game? Why has this guy got rebarb all through his body? What the fuck is going on?
Yeah, like, because for the most part, monsters are going to do what monsters do, and people understand that. It's a little bit more difficult to comprehend why exactly this person, this probably normal person, decided, hey, I'm going to start kidnapping, like, people and cutting their limbs off and decorating my house with it.
Yeah, because
You
at that
don't-
point...
you don't understand that.
Yeah, at that point, anything fucking goes.
Yeah.
You don't, like a monster is like, it's gonna eat me, it's gonna kill me. It's like, with a guy like that, you're like, well, he might kill me, but I don't know how the fuck he's gonna do it. I don't know where he's gonna come from. You know, he could have fire, he could have a gun, he could have, he could stab me. I don't fucking know.
It's almost
Yeah.
like a
You know.
American Psycho.
Yeah,
But,
with clothes on, hopefully.
Yeah.
I mean, that scene was fucking brutal.
Yeah, it
the
was
fucking
really-
chainsaw, he just drops it. Ah, that was good.
Only he could get a shot off like that, though, because I'm like, if I'd be like aiming it and dropping it, I'd be like, and I missed. Shit, now they have the chainsaw.
That's not your biggest problem. Your biggest problem is she can get the fuck out.
It's
She
true.
doesn't have to grab the chainsaw and come back and kill you. She just leave.
It's true.
Yeah, I get a little... I've been done with monsters as scary for a very long time. Like, I get... If it's unsettling in its design, it's good because it brings up, like, a vivid imagination of all the
Right.
things that could be, but that's me creating it in my head to fuck with myself based on things that I might find unsettling or
Right.
scary or whatever. Whereas with people, it's more like, I'm not sure what's going through your head, and it's really fucking with me right now.
And I don't know how it would work, but I would love to see a game based around Jacob's Ladder.
Silent Hill.
No, like actually, like no, not just inspired by, but actually like you go to war and then you come back and then things are happening and you're the only one seeing it and
So you want like Call of Duty cross with Silent Hill.
kinda, yeah.
But the war part could be like a really small part of the
which
beginning.
one is
yeah.
Clive Barker's Jericho?
Fuck that game. Oh, I'm so glad I don't own that anymore. That was a terrible fucking
It's a
game.
waste. You should have it.
No, that was a terrible game.
Play it on weekends.
No. Yeah, I would have just ruined my weekends completely.
Play it to completion every weekend to get a better understanding of the world around you.
I'd even like to have enemies that basically aren't seen. It's more like a shadowed kind of thing. You know, like staying in the light. You know.
They kind of did that a little bit with Resident Evil Revelations 2, where you had certain creatures that appeared invisible that only like one character could see, but she didn't carry a weapon. So it's like
Oh, that's a good idea.
She basically has to. You have to like use her to see and point you in the right direction to kill it. And as it's coming at you, your vision becomes blurred. It almost looks like oil going down over the camera, and everything becomes really blurred. And then
Pretty interesting.
it's like death, and you don't know how it can just happen like that.
And going off of what he said with like being people, I think that's what made BioShock in the beginning like that was kind of like creepy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it was like people that were just fucked up off of like a fucking like drug essentially,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and they just want you because you got it. They don't
Yeah.
fucking care.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. And I just loved how they programmed all those voices to like all those lines, those random lines of
Yeah.
them yelling and like
See, that's another thing that's so great about it. With monsters, I'm not afraid that I'm gonna walk out and there's gonna be a fucking werewolf. I am a little afraid that this random stranger walking down the street might be carrying a knife that he could stab me with.
yeah,
That's fucking not cool.
yeah, exactly.
eh,
Good ideas. What would you guys do if you were asked to create a survival horror game? I bet you can't do better than Will. Or Jason.
Anyone can do better than me. I'm nobody.
Stop, you're wearing a cool hat. You're wearing a chef hat. He's cooking.
I
Cooking
smell
up
it. I
ideas.
smell it.
I can smell it. Jason's cooking. It's a nice Benedict. Alright, anyhow, fuck this. Annotations, so I'll have everything. You can always find us. I'm also going to put a link to Krusty's Daily's YouTube page in there. Definitely go and give him a check. He's really funny, and tell him we sent you.
Yeah, thanks for liking our page.
Rate
Yeah,
his
thanks,
Krusty's
dude.
Daily.
I'll probably keep tagging your stuff there for a while because you're a real good supporter of the show, and I appreciate that. So, until next time, guys, thank you so much for listening and watching, and we'll catch you in the next video.